Ladies and gents, boys and girls, what is going on? Happy Monday, January the 9th, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here, the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. Appreciate you all tuning in. We got a packed show, a lot to get into. We're taking your questions, your comments, your calls, as always. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. I see Heath, Madison, Brendan M., Stephen Borwell Jr., Hudson, Todd Smith, John Edward, Jeff Gullidge, Travis Allen, what's up? Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure your questions are answered there. Again, a lot to get into. Guys, you're going to be mad at me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I told you all that over the weekend, I was going to update the 5-minute break video. I have the graphic made. I did not make the video. So I promise you, after today, that video will be updated. I literally jumped on and was like, my goodness, how did I forget? But I did. Somehow, some way, I did. So, give me crap. Throw shade on me, whatever it might be. Yeah, anyways, we'll get that updated. Either way, guys, of course, as always, TDC brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app. Go to prizepicks.com. When you do, use the promo code TSUS to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Guys, you can bet on anything, college sports, pro sports, anything and everything in between. They have got it over at Prize Picks. So many fans and listeners of the Spurs Up Show have made tons of money with our friends at Prize Picks, and you should as well. Again, that's prizepicks.com and or go down with the Prize Picks app. When you do, use the promo code TSUS to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Elizabeth Ballard, what's going on? She says the baseball countdown is on. Yes, guys, 1 week from today, we will begin talking baseball content. I see some of you saying that the video is lagging. I don't know. Is anybody else having laggy video? Everything seems to be fine on our end. I can try to refresh this maybe. Let's see if that. Okay, we just refreshed. I don't know if that's going to do anything. Y'all let me know. We got some people complaining about some laggy video. Y'all let me know if anything's fixed. It should be. If it's not, it's definitely a Melon issue. It's not Wi-Fi. It's not my technology on this side. But anyways, 843-790-3377. Podcast also dropped this morning, by the way. Talking Shane Beamer and company doing work on the recruiting trail, picking up a pair of commitments. You know, also, of course, we did touch on the basketball team and what happened over the weekend. And I think most of you would rather just forget we even have a basketball team. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's, tough. Very tough. Very tough. Anyways, guys, appreciate you all, the love, the support. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Okay, you guys are saying it sounds like it worked. Again, a week from today, we'll start talking baseball content. We will dive into the position unit preview series. And then a week from tomorrow is 1 month until opening day. So obviously, as you guys know, I'm a huge baseball guy. Looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun. And going to be awesome, man, as we count down the days until first pitch. We got an exciting week this week also, guys. Let me remind you, in case you missed it, in case you did not see it somehow on social media, a little bit of a shorter notice than normal. But we will be in Hilton Head this week. Going to have an event with our friends over at Carolina Cigars on Hilton Head Island. All my low country Gamecocks, especially those that like stogies, get on out to Carolina Cigars on the island. All of the details are on social media in regards to time, in regards to address, how to get there, what have you. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, we'll be hanging out at the Cigar Lounge. Going to be smoking stogies, talking Gamecocks, just having a really, really good time. So, again, looking forward to that. Looking forward to great conversation, hanging with great people, and really excited to get back down to Hilton Head. And we had a blast early November getting down there. We had a blast getting down there. in early November talking Gamecocks. We'll also do the Daily Crow live from the Cigar Lounge on Wednesday, noon to 2. The only day we will not have TDC this week is Thursday. So we're calling an audible there. No TDC on Thursday, but the podcast will drop on Thursday. So just to let you all know, no TDC because we'll be playing golf down in Hilton Head with the Carolina Cigars boys. So looking forward to that. We'll return normally scheduled programming on Friday. Great question here from David. He says, why don't you cover the women's basketball team? David, that's a great question. That's a great question, David. And one that I am not afraid to dive into a little bit deeper and talk about a little bit more. I would say this. I do my absolute best to highlight the women's basketball team on social media. To highlight when they're playing, when they win, stuff like that. I'll be totally transparent with you, David, in regards to, there's not enough of a draw in regards to attention on the women's basketball team to make it an integral part of the podcast. And I know that's like, maybe I'll be ran off the internet for that, but it's in regards to like thinking about the end consumer and the listeners, if you will, and what people want to hear and what people want to talk about. I mean, most people, David, would rather talk football on a day in, day out basis. Also, most of our SEC games were winning by like 60 points. I know yesterday we didn't. That was actually a really close competitive game, but it's almost as hard. It's just as difficult to talk about a 60-point win as it is to talk about a 43-point loss. I mean, it's just, what is there to say? I mean, for women's basketball guys, I mean, I'm literally rocking the merch right here, the national championship merch. I focus on the big three. I mean, I always have: baseball, basketball, and football. On the men's side, I mean, I love the women's basketball team. I love Dawn Staley, and we've got the merchandise. This is the 2022 National Champions t-shirt. And especially we start to cover it more and more in depth as we get closer to the postseason. And it's just one of those things where I'm one person too, by the way. I'm one person, only have so much time, so many resources. But, if you really want to have that conversation, David, I'm more than welcome to have that conversation. I'll be transparent about it, that it's just, most people would rather talk about football. I mean, most people would like to talk about football all year long. They like to talk about it all calendar year. But, maybe women's basketball is something we need to touch on more of. I'm not saying that, especially when you think about how good we are. But I wonder how many people would actually tune into a podcast that was 30 minutes long just solely talking about the women's basketball team. I mean, would you? I'm asking the question. Would people tune into that, do you think? And I know there are probably some that would, but it's just the reality of it. And it poses a really interesting question of why is that, and is there a way to fix it? Why is that, and is there a way to fix it in regards to how do we increase? Because even being number one in the country and being undefeated and all that, I mean, I think we can all admit that women's basketball does not get the attention that even the men's team does, that even men's basketball does. Certainly not any of the other big sports, baseball, football, that stuff. So it's like, why is that? It's a really intriguing thing and an interesting thing. But it's just one of those things. Again, I'm just one person. And so, I mean, I've got to allocate my time and resources to the top topics, if you will. The top topics, the top topics of conversation, the things people want to talk about. And so if y'all want to talk women's basketball, we absolutely can. I mean, this show right here is built for you guys. Whatever you want to call in and talk about, whatever you guys want to discuss. I mean, you have the power in the comments, things of that nature. Most of the time, though, it does not happen. So, and no, Lynn, I take no, I don't take anything you just said personally. Lynn says this. She says, if people would stop discounting women's basketball and truly watch the game, you would know that women's basketball is actually more true to the game than men's basketball. I mean, when I think of women's basketball, yeah, I definitely think more so like fundamentally sound, like passing still matters, layups still matter. Men's basketball sort of turned into a dunk contest, a three-point shooting contest, which is fine. I mean, it's still a very fun game to watch. And admittedly, I'm not a huge basketball guy, right? But it's a conversation that I do not run from. I'm sure many would say, kind of cower away, but I would just say this: if you were to, and I would applaud you if you did it, but if you tried to start a business solely around talking women's basketball, you will struggle. You will have it will very much be a struggle because unfortunately it just doesn't move the needle. Like I don't know what else to tell you. And I think especially for, and again, nothing I'm saying is any sort of slight on Dawn Staley and our women's team. Quite the opposite. I mean, I love Dawn Staley and I love our women's team and I love the success we're having in women's basketball. It's just one of those things, though, where, again, it just does not move the needle for the masses. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, that's not a hot take. That's just the reality. I mean, you look at the numbers across the board and, I've even had people, tell me that, hey, there's some entities that try to force it down our throat, and we're glad that you do not. So it's one of those things where, we do the absolute best we can. I'll just put it that way. I try to create the best, most absolutely entertaining content I possibly can on a day in, day out basis. Again, as we get closer to, the postseason, I mean, that is truly when the season, I mean, I've said it many times, guys, that's when the season starts for South Carolina women's basketball. These games right now, I mean, they're awesome. They're fun. We're winning. We're going to win. I mean, we've got a big game. And I'll say this to your point, David, and everybody else. We're planning on throwing a couple of watch parties this spring for the women's basketball games, regular season. I think it'd be awesome to throw a watch party for that UConn game. Maybe even Tennessee when we play them, some of the bigger games, if you will. I don't want to make it sound like the team is getting punished for being so good, but it's like I've told you guys, the regular season is like a warm up for us. I mean, it really is. It's just one of those things where, we are blessed and we're fortunate to where we are so good that, we kind of can almost put it on cruise control in the regular season. But, so Cocky Twan says, does men's basketball move the needle? Not really this season, Cocky Twan. Normally it does. Not this season, though. I would agree with you. Again, I've told you guys, my mindset's completely shifted in the sense of, when I first started, and for the longest time, my mindset used to be that, my number one goal is to provide the absolute best coverage and content around baseball, basketball, football, doing all these game previews and post-game reactions. And I still want to do that, right? Because, the games and the teams playing, I mean, that's what we all care about, right? We all care about the Gamecocks, and no matter what the sport is, like, we're all fans of it. But what I've also realized too is that, again, I'm more so dedicated to providing the best possible content on a day in, day out basis, and the content that has the most value to my audience and to the end consumer. So, during basketball season, that might be football, right? So basically what I'm saying is, like, I'm not going to force, content down anybody's throat in the sense of, if people don't want to talk men's basketball, like if I came on this show today saying, well, men's basketball played over the weekend, so we have to talk about it today. I'm not doing, I'm going to talk about what's most interesting. What do people care about the most? And what's moving the needle, right? I mean, the beautiful thing is that I always say, why move the needle when you can be the needle? And that's something I live by. So, I mean, we could make it a thing if we like, but, when you lose by 43, the way that Lamont Paris and those guys did, it's what is there really to say? What is there to say besides beating a dead horse of, well, it's year one. I would even call it year zero. I mean, I really would call it year zero, but it's like, yeah, it's year one. We're just building out the run. I mean, you're going to say the same things. It's going to be the same excuses, lack of a better way of putting it. It's the same things over and over and over again. It's the same things over and over and over, because otherwise you're going to start coming down on people and being extremely critical. And it's like, do you really feel like we can do that in year one? So anyways, I'll just say this to your point. I would love to provide more extensive women's basketball content and coverage. I think bringing on someone else to do that would be beneficial, right? Because, again, I'm one person and I can only cover so many topics. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. What about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
So what's going on with these? I think it's welcome home. I think two of them, unannounced, or is it one?
Well, so no, there were three welcome homes yesterday. Beamer tweeted out a really late one. Two of the three we know.
Yeah,
Two of the three we know. The two 23 welcome homes that we know are transfer portal guys. The Sydney Fugar, I believe that's how you say his last name, the offensive lineman from Western Illinois, and then Jerron Willis, Ole Miss transfer linebacker. So, yeah, I mean, I think both are good pickups. I mean, Willis especially. You look at he was a freshman last year, only appeared in one game, but you look at his recruiting profile. Was a four-star linebacker, was like a .928 on the 24/7 Sports Composite. I think he's 6'2", 235, something like that. So I think that's a dude
yeah.
that's going to play immediately at linebacker in a position, obviously, that we need
Oh yeah,
as much help as we can possibly get at that position. The Sydney Fugar kid, I mean, again, Western Illinois, don't know a ton about him. He started 10 games in 2 seasons for them, but has the size for
yeah.
sure.
I
6'5",
I don't know if I don't
335
know
or
if it
something like
means
that.
anything at all. I've seen the schedule from last year, but they haven't won one game. I don't know if that means anything.
I mean, I mean, he's an offensive lineman, so I'd be much more concerned if he was a quarterback and that was his statistic. But
Yeah,
I don't know that means a whole lot, to be honest with you, my guy. So has a lot of size, and you need to build depth on the offensive line, obviously. So I mean, it's we'll see what he does. We'll see if he's a a contributor, or again whether he just provides depth. That helps you as well, but again, we know Shane Beamer and company are going to attack the transfer portal. I mean, that's no secret at all, right? We knew that. So I think this is probably just the
right.
beginning in regards to, going after the portal. We all saw that Trajan Jeffcoat from Missouri hit the portal, and he's obviously a local Columbia guy and was a fantastic player from Mizzou. And so maybe he could be coming home. You never know. I think that's one right now. Everybody's got their eyes on to see what he does. But yeah, I mean, Shane Beamer and company are going to continue to attack the portal. But yeah, not sure who that last welcome home was. So we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what's your thoughts on? I'm not trying to be that guy. I know there's millions of people that are asking so many questions about this, but Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, from what we've heard, the rumors have stated those two guys, they were at the team meeting last night, the first team meeting of 2023. I listen, I'm just like you, man, on the edge of my seat, just waiting to see. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what
sure.
maybe it's one of those things that they're gonna drop their announcement during the national championship game tonight. Of course, Georgia and TCU. So I mean, I don't know. They've
Yeah,
got until next Monday. So it's going to happen within the next week, per sources, right? I don't know
right.
though, man. I mean, I think there's a lot of positive signs that point to them returning, but until we get official word, it's just all speculation.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll come back. I mean, yeah, it's starting to look like it, but
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I needed. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Hunter, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the call. Great stuff from Hunter as always. Yeah, hopefully we get announcements on Juice Wells, Spencer Rattler this week. But yeah, I mean, I know I know we're all waiting on the edge of our seat. I want to go back to what David asked, by the way, though, and just reiterate. I hope that I did. I feel like I did a decent job explaining my point, but I want to explain a little bit better in regards to the women's basketball coverage. Because I'd tell anyone this: why do we not cover the women's basketball team more extensively? I mean, again, I would say the number one reason is that I am one person, and that the amount of content I can create. I mean, while it is limitless, you work smarter, not harder, right? And you've got to allocate your resources, your attention, your energy to the things that are going to best impact and going to make the greatest impact in regards to content, in regards to what's going to hit home for the most amount of people. And so, guys, realistically, and this is transparently and authentically, and that's how I operate, and that's why you guys rock with this show. We are all huge fans and supporters of Dawn Staley, the women's basketball program, and we take a lot of pride in our women's basketball program, I think more than most people probably do. With that being said, does women's basketball really move the needle for people until we get to postseason play? I would say no. I would say no. And that is just the reality. And that is the fight that not just South Carolina, but that's the fight that the sport fights, right? Is fighting for, because what social media is, and when it comes to sports fans and people, it's an arms race for people's attention, right? It's an arms race for people's attention. I mean, if you don't think football is king, there was just a graphic, a stat that came out. The top 100 televised sporting events from 2022. I think it was like 82 of them were football, NFL. 82 of them were NFL. So football is king. Football rules. And I don't think anybody really denies that. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. It's the reality, if you will. So yeah, I mean, that's just how it rolls. And so that's why, I allocate my time, my attention, my energy onto the things that do indeed move the needle, and that that draw listeners and draw interactions and engagements. And I'm not saying that I'm just trying to put clickbait out there or feed the masses what they want to hear, because I talk about the things that are relevant to South Carolina and to South Carolina fans. But I would say, again, on this platform and this entity, if you guys want to talk more women's basketball, you guys have the power. Let's get some more questions going about women's basketball. Let's get some more calls going about women's basketball. You know, but because I always say the beauty's in the banter. I mean, I'd love to discuss him. It was a great win yesterday for Dawn Staley's team, and they keep on keeping on. And I think anybody at this point who picks the Gamecocks, who picks them to lose, is just foolish. You're trying to make a point for what reason, I have no idea. I mean, I could literally realistically see Dawn Staley's team going undefeated, start to finish. I mean, I really could. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Travis Allen asked me about the madness on Twitter. Yeah, what an interesting weekend, right? What an interesting weekend on Twitter. And I purposefully did not mention it today on the podcast. I would just say this. There are about 4 or 5 times throughout the calendar year. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, guys. It really is. So Travis Allen, when you ask what's up with it, I mean, it's normal, dude. It's normal. So there are about 4. It's not a daily thing. It's not every single day. It's not every single week, because the way social media works, guys, and the reason why there's no point in fighting that fight, right? I have tunnel vision towards just creating great content and moving forward in business and merchandise, and upward and onward we go. It's a greatness we strive. But because on social media, 24, 48 hours later, people find a new thing to be mad about. They find a new person to troll. They find a new person to take shots at. They find a new person to try to tear down. It's just the way that social media operates, especially Twitter. Twitter is an incubator for madness. I love Twitter, but it is what it is, and it's the water cooler of our society. But it also does serve. It's where the inmates run the asylum. I mean, if you really want the viewpoint of Twitter, but really, it's about 4 or 5 times a year where, but it's about 4 or 5 times a year where shit just hits the fan. Whether there's there's some sort of low-hanging fruit, right? There's some sort of low-hanging fruit, whether it's, a take that I have, an opinion, if you will, or there's a freaking Twitter poll bracket, whatever, that drops, or this happens, or somebody says this or says that. It's about 4 or 5 times a year, right? Where true chaos ensues, and it normally lasts 3 or 4 days. And then after that, it just kind of goes away. And so I would imagine, this week, probably today. I mean, it's just kind of an afterthought. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. It's just part of it. It comes with the territory. And when you're having massive success and achieving great things, and they can't discredit the success of the podcast, the merch, the live show, the social media, the Big Cock Club. I mean, everything in between, they've got to start taking personal shots, which are 99.9%. I would probably even say, go as far to say 100%. Baseless and empty and bullshit. But just let the folks on social media run wild, and we'll keep it moving. And if you have any questions, you're more than free to shoot me a DM or shoot me an email or what have you. And and I can address. And the beautiful thing about social media is that the block button exists, and that, we're to a point where, like, I don't really need any more followers, guys, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not begging for followers, so I'm able to control some of the madness, if you will, and for people that are the scum of the earth that should not have access to our content. They don't have access to our content. At least it's not as easy for them to get access to our content. So it is what it is. Anyways, Trip Cromer, don't forget Cornhole Rules, double champions. Yes. Hey, absolutely. Shout out to those folks. Shout out to the Cornhole champions, right? We crush. Hey, we crush. Buck Thomas, and I'll say this too, Gamecock fans love a winner. So, I mean, whether it's cornhole, whether it's women's basketball, whether it's baseball, football, whatever, hey, we love a winner. Buck Thomas, his most interesting women's basketball topic is watching Chris try to tiptoe his way around getting canceled from the internet while explaining why they spend more time on women's basketball. Well, I mean, it's not tiptoeing around trying to not get canceled. It's just, I want to make it clear that, like, I like women's basketball and I'm a fan and a supporter, but if you really want to have that realistic conversation, I mean, it's just about, you want to focus and allocate your energy and time and resources towards things that draw the most attention. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, that's the best possible way I can put it. And so especially when we get closer, we get to the postseason. I mean, I talk a lot. I mean, you look at last year on our run in the national championship, we broke down every single game and talked about every single game and made graphics and made video and all that. But, the regular season, and I'm not saying, again, it's a punishment that we're so good, but we are kind of, it's like I've told you guys, it's being a fan of Gamecocks women's basketball right now is like being a fan of the Patriots when they had Tom Brady. I mean, the regular season was fun, but it was sort of an afterthought. I mean, it's the season does not start into the postseason. Like, our goals are so far beyond just beating Mississippi State on a random Sunday. Like, if we don't win the national championship, we miss the mark. I mean, this right here, this is what it's about, winning the trophy. That's literally what it's about. So, which is a great thing. It's a fantastic thing. So, yeah. So, I mean, Buck Thomas, I don't have to preface anything with anything. I just am a fan of Dawn Staley and the women's basketball team. So, yeah. What a fun Monday this has been thus far. Madison. So we'll probably, is that UConn game at home? I thought it was at UConn. Why did I think it was not? I don't know. We were talking about throwing a watch party for that game, though. I don't know. Anyways, 843-790-3377. Fun conversation today. Travis Allen, personally not a basketball guy, men's or women's, nothing personal. We're all different. And that's what makes the world go round. I mean, Travis, and that's something else I don't run away from too, is like, I'm not a huge basketball guy either. Like, I'm really not. I'm really not. Like, I love the Gamecocks. Therefore, I love watching, or, I watch Gamecocks basketball, both men's and women's. But I mean, I've never shied away from this, guys. That, like, before I ever created content around South Carolina, before TSUS, when I was just a fan of the Gamecocks, it would not bother me to miss a basketball game. It wouldn't. Like, and I'm talking on the men's side. It wouldn't bother me to miss a basketball game. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where, because South Carolina basketball has never been good enough for people to really care and get invested. That's just the brutal, honest truth. It is. It's not like football where it's the beauties and the scarcity and there's only 12 games. And so you're going to watch every single one of them no matter what. When you have so many games, right? When there's so many games and you're not good, and we've talked about it before, what's unfortunate in men's basketball is that if you're not making the tournament, your season's just almost pointless. You know what I'm saying? Your season, especially if you're not making any sort of postseason. If you're not making any postseason, then it's really tough. I mean, then it's really, really tough. So, anyways, let's see. Ryan Johnson, I want to say thank you for the comment, Slapdick. I appreciate it. People like you are what make this thing funny, so I appreciate that. I don't know if he's still tuned in, but let's see. Appreciate you all tuning in. Like I said, guys, podcast did drop this morning. We had a question from Brendan M. Yes, is Mark Ryan joining this week? Yes, we will double dip on Wednesday when we're at Carolina Cigars. We will take your questions nonstop until 12:45. And then at 12:45, Mark Ryan will indeed join us, guys. In case you missed it, Mark Ryan of the Fan Upstate going to be a weekly guest for us. on the Daily Crow every single Wednesday. The times will vary, but he will join us this week, 12:45 for about 20 minutes or so. And then at 1:15, JC Sherbert will join us because there's no TDC on Thursday. So we'll have 2 guests on Wednesday. Going to be a lot of fun, but I'm looking forward to having Mark on. I know there's many of you that'll roll your eyes, you'll scoff, you'll whatever, but the fact is this: Mark Ryan moves the needle, and I appreciate and genuinely enjoy Mark Ryan's banter and conversation. And Mark is a guy that brings the national perspective. Contrary to popular belief, he's not a Clemson fan. He's actually a Florida guy. So I think Mark is able to look at things. Mark is able to look at things the same way that the reason I brought on a Jake Crane, right? He's able to, there are no garnet glasses. There's no Gamecock bias. He sees things for what they are, not what he wants them to be. And that's a perspective, guys, that I appreciate. You all know that. So really excited to have Mark on the show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, the beauties and the banter, like I said, and you guys, what's also fun too, and I think people don't think about this, is like, Mark has some interesting takes, some takes that many Gamecocks do not agree with. He's got takes that I don't agree with. So it will give me the opportunity to challenge him on said takes of like, why did you say this? What does this mean? You are wrong. So I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun. Okay, UConn is away. Yeah, Brendan, our plan was to, I think we're going to throw a watch party for that game. I think we're going to throw a watch party for the UConn game. So, again, we I know Buck Thomas will give me hell, but going back to it, we do show love and support to women's basketball, but am I going to be on the podcast giving a preview and a breakdown and a reaction to every single game we play? No, probably not. Probably not. So, and that's just the reality of it. And again, if you have any further questions, I'm more than happy to address that. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. Again, thank you all so much for the continued love and support. And I will say that that's something I do want to hammer on and do want to make sure I make very clear, because on social media, and it's so funny, by the way, too. I saw some things on social media of people saying that I was in some way like crying or a cry for help on Friday. And I was, guys, I believe in celebrating successes and victories, big and small. Life is hard. Building a business is hard. Building an entity is hard. Doing what we do and doing what I do for a living and building it up to a point where this is my living. I work no other job, right? I've been doing this full time since August of 2019. That's something to be celebrated. And I lead again with perspective and gratitude. And so I believe in celebrating all the successes, big and small. And so that's why I wanted to voice and let you all know, how we were doing on social media, on the podcast, on the live show, on the merch, the only people that were irritated by that were the insecure. That's the only people that were irritated by that minute and a half or so, rant, if you want to call it that, or that minute and a half so clip, that conversation that I had. The only folks irritated by that are the insecure. That's truly it. So, and it's social media is a really interesting place because those people expose themselves willingly and freely, and so it's kind of a funny thing in that way, where folks out themselves as the insecure and the insignificant. It is funny. It is funny to me. Either way, though. And I love this. Ken says, congrats. I didn't realize this is your full-time gig. Yes, Ken, this is not a hobby. This is a full-on legitimate business. I've been doing this full-time since August of 2019. I mean, I would say this, Ken, and I I take it as a compliment. I used to, I used to kind of stop and be like, how could you think I do something else? Like, when would I have time to do it? Like, I'm creating content at scale in massive amounts every single day. How could I have time to do something else? Then I stopped and realized how much of a compliment that is, because what we're doing is so rare that, and this is meant as a slight as no one, but it's just the reality. Like, most people cannot wrap their heads around like that what we do is even a possibility in this life. And I'll say it's even crazy. Like, what a world we live in, that in 2023, you can do a podcast for a living, straight up. You can do it as a job. You can do it and support yourself. And you can do that day in, day out. And that can be what you do. You know what I mean? Like, that's a cool place to be in. That's a really cool thing. And there will be a small minority that will discredit that will say, no way, it's not true. And then, there are the dreamers and believers and doers and thinkers that do it and follow their passions and dreams and do that day in, day out for a living and live happy, fulfilled lives. So, and I'm happy to be part of that group. So, yes, Kens, I do it full time, and it's a blessing, and I truly love every single day and appreciate you guys again, the love and support. And again, that was the point I was going to make, is that I do want it to be understood. I do want it to be understood that the love and the support is overwhelmingly the majority. It is. We all know that the vocal minority, this goes far beyond sports, but we know the vocal minority on social media can be loud, right? Can be loud, but I am louder, and I will never not be louder. So, Hunter Kelly says, not my business, but how do you get paid? Ooh, Hunter. We can have that conversation. I'll just say this, Hunter, because I'm obviously not going to dive into all of the nitty gritty details here, but we are able to monetize the business through merchandise, through business partners, our sponsors, all the ad reads you hear, right? I've got about 10 to 12 different streams of income that's at any one time. And I truly believe in diversifying. You have to diversify yourself. You do. When you're an entrepreneur, diversify. If you just say, I'm going to make income just one way, you're truly limiting yourself. I believe, and I know for a fact. So, maybe one of these days we'll get into a little bit more of a deeper conversation. But I will say this, Hunter, on your point, to your point, it's not something like I shy away from. Again, I would say my business partnerships and merchandise, those are the top two ways. Also the Big Cot Club. I appreciate those guys and their love and their support. Elizabeth Ballard had me thinking that the Muschamp Hackers were here right now. We're here right now. But, I will say this. What's really funny, and again, it comes with, guys, I'm not surprised at it. Like, the larger that we get and the more success we have, right, the shots will never stop. Because, again, people see the success that we're having, and normal, rational folks will either say, that's awesome, I support, they're great, or they'll say, that's not really my cup of tea, I don't really rock with that guy, and they'll just keep it moving. That's what normal, rational people will do. But as we grow larger, right, the shots will inevitably come, and that's a great place to be in, right? Like, they don't make parody accounts about people who are insignificant, right? Like, when you're having parody accounts made of you, that is a good sign. I will say that. But I will say this, because I want to address something that, I don't know if you guys may have heard it through the grapevine, or maybe you've jumped into a Twitter space and you've heard so-and-so talking about this and that. Let me say this. To insinuate that anyone knows where our finances are going, there's a reason why I don't put that information out there, because when it comes to money, people lose their minds and people think they have a right to say where funds are going or where money is going. Or it goes back to the conversation that I had in early November about, you get to a certain point, right? You put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, and you take an entity from zero and you grow it to a point where it's powerful, right? And you have true influence, and you're really making an impact, and you're really making a difference. And when you get to that point, people think, for some reason, people that have had no influence on the direction of said entity, they've had no positive impact on what you've done, they for some reason think, why, I do not know, but they for some reason think they have some sort of right to tell you what you should be saying, what you should be doing, the way you should be using your voice, and even go as far to tell you what you should and should not be doing with the money that you are making. And the funniest part about that is that people are saying that and they have no idea what we're doing. None. They have no clue. And I can tell you guys this: I'm not going to report earnings to you all. I hope that's not a, hopefully you're not disappointed in hearing that. But I'm I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make that information known to you all, because I got to be honest, guys. I love NIL. We have partnered with players, right? But how much money we're giving to NIL or not is nobody's business. Because I'm not in the business of, well, I'm going to donate to NIL, and I want everybody on social media to pat me on the back and tell me how great of a Gamecock I am. I mean, I would say if you're giving for that reason, you're giving for the wrong reasons. And it feels like a lot of people on social media, that's why they're giving. Look how much I gave, 100% of proceeds. Like, please tell me how great of a Gamecock I am. Are you really giving for the right reasons? Are you giving for the ego? Are you actually giving to even benefit the student athlete? Or are you giving so everybody will praise you and tell you how great you are? Like, why are you actually giving? And that goes with any facet of life. I'm not even talking Gamecock. Like, when you're giving something, if you're expecting something in return, praise, what have, it's not true, genuine giving. It's giving for the ego. It's not giving for the soul. So, but the bottom line is this: how much I'm giving to NIL is nobody's business. It's literally nobody's business. That's it. But for people to insinuate, and again, you got people going in Twitter spaces that are saying, he's not giving anything to NIL. You don't even know what I'm doing. You're not in my wallet. You're not behind the scenes. You have no idea. And Austin Greer says all NIL donations and deals should be public knowledge. And that's your opinion. That's fair. I would disagree. Why should you have access to what I'm doing with my money? Why? It's like, let me put it to you this way. If Juice Wells and we execute a deal on a t-shirt, okay? Let's just say that we're going to drop some merch. We're going to drop the juice line, which would be really cool, by the way. Let's just say we're going to drop the juice line. Let's actually use Kai Kroger. Better example, he's a TSUS athlete. Let's say Kai Kroger and I are going to execute on a Kai's My Guy, which would be a cool t-shirt. Kai's My Guy t-shirt. All of the details of that behind the scenes, the money stuff, how much of the proceeds, the percentages, the splits, it's nobody's business except mine and his. It's nobody's business. None. It's not. I don't know how that could even be a hard thing to wrap your brain around for anybody. And Austin, I'll say this. I hear what you're saying. I feel like you're more so talking about, because I think that's the one thing that scares people a little bit is like, and I'm not, listen, I think the collectives are awesome. I think the collectives are great. I think the thing about NIL, though, to your point, Austin, is that you really don't know where the money's going in a lot of instances. And, we're just being told that 100% is going to players, this, that, but it's like, I mean, we don't know. We don't know. But again, I just, I think it's fun, and what a blessing, right? What a blessing. I mean, I remember when I made $0 off TSUS, and now I got people complaining that, somehow people are complaining he's making too much. He's not giving enough to this. And like, what a blessing, what a great position to be in. But I just think it's funny when you've got people that are making assumptions of how much we're giving when they literally have no idea, have no clue. You're making a baseless, empty assumption because you're mad because your dog shit merch hasn't sold. I mean, of course you're giving 100% of proceeds. You sold 5 t-shirts. That ain't that much. You might as well give it all. Don't even get me started, bro. Like, let me just say this. I'm a Gamecock fan through and through. We are making moves behind the scenes to benefit Gamecock student athletes, to benefit Gamecock NIL. But I'm also not a believer in making bad business decisions. Do with that information what you will. And if it hurts your feelings, I don't really give a damn because it ain't none of your business. That being said, let's jump into a break, guys. On the side, we're taking more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Let's see. Again, Monday, January the 9th, 2023. Appreciate you all tuning in. Craig Phillips said, I know you said it's coming, but so ready for some golf merch. Yes, Craig, I'm going to work on merch tonight, actually. I want to drop some new T-shirts, some new hats, golf merch as well. Definitely. So, definitely looking forward to it. So, let's see. Austin Greer, I know you guys are talking about NIL and public information and the money. It should be public where the money is going, stuff like that. I I don't know, man. I don't think a business should have to tell what they're doing. I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't. So I don't. And I'll tell you this, Austin. To your point, even if that were the case, like, there's going to be loopholes to where they're not going to be I mean, there's a way to transport the bag behind the scenes. There is. Like, there's just, if they don't want you to know, you ain't gonna know. You ain't gonna know. Bottom line, you're not gonna know, right? So, but I mean, I hear what you're saying, Austin. I think it would just help, ease some of our concerns if some of this stuff was public knowledge. And but anyways, let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
Robbie Davis, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic on this Monday. How are you doing on this Monday?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
I just want to say this real quick about the whole money thing, okay? First off, it's nobody's business what Steve Philly or anybody else does with his money, okay? What he does with his money is his business, all right? What he does with Ty Kroger, nobody's business, okay? Nobody. I have had multiple times while working at Zaxby's, I would offer to go to the gas station right next to where the Zaxby's is, and I would ask some of my coworkers if they wanted a coffee, and they would try to pay me back, and I'm like, no, I don't want your money. I'm not doing it to get praise out of it or get money out of it. I'm just doing it because, one, I was already over there, and I just wanted to do something nice for somebody. Why is it that we go from doing stuff that for somebody just because we want to be nice to now we do stuff for people and we want something out of it? That's not right.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, and it's. I'll say this too. It's not something that comes up on a regular basis, but it is something that happened over the weekend. Which this was a crazy weekend, but I just wanted to make it clear. Yeah. Just wanted to make that point. But other than that, it's not something I'll be probably addressing again. I don't plan on addressing again, but I mean, I've seen the comments before. When people ask me about NIL, which I fully support. I support Garnet Trust. I support Counter Right. But like, how much money you're giving to NIL and how much this person's giving or how much this business is giving. It's just none of your business. And like, when people comment, they're asking me this question, like, why do you think I'm going to dispel business information with you? Like, I'm not doing that. Nobody, no accountant, no tax person, no business coach, no anybody would advise that'd be a smart move. And that, let's see. Robbie, you there, my guy?
Yeah.
I lost you. I lost you for a second. Yeah, that was crazy. The NIL hackers. Anyways, I would just say, man,
right.
Everybody's given what they can, and it's
Right.
it's really nobody's business.
And you
otherwise,
already know,
so.
if I could, I would buy merch and spend money in a heartbeat if I could.
Right.
You already know. You've known me long enough to know that. Okay. And when I will say this, I'm gonna go church on you real quick. Okay. So if you say you're at a church, you're at a say you're someone at a church, right? You see somebody give $10 in an offering plate, which is basically kind of sort of the exact amount, really, like 5 to 10%, right?
Yeah.
If someone else puts a $20 bill in there and brags about it, that's not right. When it comes to stuff like that, you give what you can, right? Like me, I always try. If I know I'm going on like a church rant here, but just bear with me here. I would give at least either if I had a 5, I'd put a 5 in there. If I had no 5s, but I had enough like 1s to give away, I'd put a couple of 1s in there. And just what people do with their money is nobody's business. What businesses do with their money, nobody's business. It's no one's business, so stay out of it.
Indeed. Indeed. You know what's interesting? I was just thinking about this, Robbie, today.
And that would be a cool T-shirt, by the way. That would be a cool T-shirt. The T-shirt you mentioned, yeah, that would be an awesome T-shirt. I would probably get one if I could. But and I think because you mentioned like with the whole, I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but just bear with me here. Like what you said about, women's basketball is like not, it doesn't really move the needle, right? There's a reason why it doesn't move the needle, all right? Even though, yes, there are some decent girls basketball teams in college, there are some decent basketball teams. It's just we really don't know the reason why that men's basketball gets more attention than women's is because it's sort of kind of more exciting. It's basically more exciting to watch than women's basketball. And if you don't like what I just said, then you can kick rocks and kiss my teeth.
I mean, I don't think that's like a hot take. I mean, it's a different game. And I will say this though, like women's basketball, I think you have to really appreciate like the fundamentals of basketball. And because again, you're not getting high flying dunks. It's not a bunch of 3-pointers. And like, I'm not saying one is right or wrong, but like there is a difference. That's what I'd say. There is a difference. And also people shouldn't be people shouldn't be bullied or mocked or try to be canceled off the internet if they prefer one or the other. Like it's a preference. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Like, just like everybody's got preferences for restaurants.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Like for some reason, I'm not a big fan of Japanese food. So I hardly ever go to a Japanese restaurant. I'll go to a Chinese restaurant, but I'm not a fan of Japanese.
I learned something new about you today.
But would I be willing to try Japanese food? Yes. The odds of me liking it are very slim, but I'd be willing to try it. And even though the game was close yesterday, all that matters is we won the basketball game. That's all that matters. I honestly, even with the game being as close as it was, I was not concerned because I thought to myself, we're going to eventually pull away and put the game away and win. So I really didn't flinch even when the game was close. I was like, we got the athletes. We got the roster to put this thing away. It's just something, and like I've said last year, sometimes it takes a minute for the ball to go into the basket.
Sometimes it does
And
take
in order
a
for
minute.
you to make, and if you want, and the only way you're going to make baskets is if you keep shooting, no matter how many times you miss. And also with the whole with recruiting, with how we're recruiting for football. Okay, I don't know nothing about none of these guys, but who cares, right? They're coming to Carolina. Beamer's in the kitchen cooking up a recipe for success for the 2023 season, and he's getting the ingredients, and he's probably hoping and praying that we like the ingredients. Like, I don't care who he recruits. If he gets anybody to come to South Carolina, I'm like, good, because we need the bodies. All right, we need the bodies, we need the players, because you need to recruit some good players and somehow turn them into great players. Mm-hmm. That's how you have a championship caliber team in any sport. You can recruit good players, but the question is, can you turn them into great players? That's always the question with any sport. And I think Beamer and the coaching staff and any of them, they're doing the best they can with what they got. So I'm just gonna sit back and let Beamer do his thing. I mean, I've had no reason to not trust Beamer, so I'm gonna just sit back and let him do his thing.
Right. And
complete side note for tonight, I think Georgia will, as bad as I hate saying this, I think Georgia will win tonight. Okay. I think they'll win by a lot. Let's just go with that. Okay. It's not going to be pretty. Especially if TCU's offense don't show up, they're screwed.
Yeah, I'm expecting Georgia to win. I mean, 2 touchdown favorites. And I think TCU's a great story. And I mean, what an upset it would be. I mean, really, truly. And I'm hoping TCU wins, but I think Georgia is just – you know, on a different level, man. They're on a different level, and they're kind of the new Alabama, really. I mean, so.
Yeah, it's like Alabama, but just the colors are different.
Yeah, what Kirby's built there is very, very similar to what they built at Bama. But obviously he learned from Saban, so.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just and I think that the girl. I honestly, right now, I'm literally probably fixing to tell you. I'm probably saying, I'm going to say this now. I think that the girls are going to win the national championship. Seriously, our girls are going to win the national championship, beat everybody's ass, and prove that we may be a girls basketball school and a baseball school right now, but who cares? We're winning. Like I said last week, if you have a winner, fans will show up, no matter what sport it is. And congrats to the cornhole team, by the way. Congrats to the cornhole team for winning the Natty. Okay. I'm not that great at cornhole, but congrats to them winning the national championship. Okay. Like, Gamecock fans and any fan of any team would tell you they love a winner. If you lose, then they won't be happy. That's just the way it is with every fan base. If you have a winner, you will have fans show up and you will sell your school's merchandise out the wazoo if you have a winner. I don't know what a wazoo is, but but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Robbie.
And by the way, I'm actually rocking a Sandstorm T-shirt that I got for Christmas this past Saturday, and it's got the score against Tennessee on it.
Love it.
And
Love it,
but that's all I got. For the heck of it, what the hey, go TCU Horned Frogs, beat Georgia because we're competing with Georgia in recruiting every year. So go TCU Horned Frogs, doggone it. I'd love to see an upset. That would be fantastic. But you have a great rest of your day, and stay safe. And as always, leave the dumb stuff to me. Go Gamecocks, and to hell with Clifton! Bunch of losers.
Robbie, you the man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
Yeah, man, you too. Great stuff. 14 strong minutes there from Robbie Davis. You got to love Robbie's brain. It's just firing all over the place. Like just this topic, that topic. I mean, the way he jumps from topic to topic is just truly a beautiful thing. So, a Robbie Davis call. Love it. Love it. Love what a Robbie Davis call does for the overall morale of this show. Truly. I'm going to try to keep him to less than 10 minutes, but truly. Brad Crawford, guys, on Twitter said this, tweeted this at 12:58, about 10 minutes ago. He says, I've been told that Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells have each heard back from the college advisory committee with evaluations suggesting both would be day 3 NFL draft picks. Expect decisions at any time. So, I mean, I think if they're day 3 guys, I think they got to come back, right? I mean, I think if they're day 3 guys, they got to come back. I don't know how it would make any sense to not return. I mean, you're going to improve your draft stock. Like you are. And Spencer Rattler also is going to be in a draft that is much less competitive at the quarterback position. Like I feel like there are so many signs or so many reasons that point to why it'd be a good idea for him to come back. So, Cam Rising back for his senior season at Utah. How about that? That's big. They open up with Florida next year too. Yeah, I mean, day 3 selections, I think they got to come back. I think it just makes too much sense for them to come back. So, guys, after an interesting first hour, I feel like we've gotten it sort of back on the rails. I will say, I know you guys don't, and that's why I don't spend time, really discussing like any type of, drama. And I've really gotten to the point where I'm completely past engaging in the slapdickery on social media, because you guys don't follow and rock with TSUS for those reasons, right? Like, this isn't a drama show. This is a show where we talk about the Gamecocks and we conversate and we give our opinions on things. And certainly we have times and, where we can talk about some of the other stuff, if you will. But yeah, so the conversation got a little bit off the rails early, but a Robbie Davis call just always saves the day, right? Maybe it'll get more off the rails. Maybe Rebecca calls in today. You never know. Anyways, guys, your questions, your comments, your calls, of course, 843-790-3377. Let's go ahead and jump into a quick break. But on the other side, we will take more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Austin Gregory says, Chris, can you speak on the fact that Beamer's name will be mentioned in a lot of future job openings? I know he's where he wants to be, but I want fans to know to expect it and appreciate it. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely a compliment, when your coach is being sought after by other schools. It's it's certainly not an insult, quite the opposite, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, Beamer, as South Carolina's stock goes up, Beamer's stock goes up, right? And so he's going to be somebody that may be sought after by other schools. That's why, though, you pay him. That's why you give him the extension. And I saw some people on social media that were, a little uneasy about the raise that Shane Beamer got. And I would just say this, guys. I mean, you look, Shane Beamer's still like middle of the pack when it comes to SEC coaches and yearly salaries, but you got to shift your thinking and your mindset from, this yearly salary to it's an investment. You are investing in Beamer for the long term because you believe in him as your head football coach. Certainly we all do. And, you need to, it's not even about the money. It's about what the money says that, hey, we believe in you as our guy to this degree. So let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Call from
Alex.
Alex, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, Chris? How are you today?
I'm doing Monday. Happy Monday. I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking. What's up?
Oh, not much. I just been on Twitter the past couple of days, and you seem to be a hot topic to some people.
It's just Taylor's oldest time, man. Just comes with the territory. So it's I get paid to take the shit, man. So it is what it is. So
listen, I got a couple questions for you. First, what you think about the transfer portal commits you've got over the past couple of days?
Yeah, so the offensive lineman from Western Illinois, big body dude. We'll have to wait and see. Will he be an impact player or will he be a depth guy? But either way, I mean, definitely has the size and the build. I think it was like 6'5", 335, something like that. So, you need to add offensive linemen. We know that you're obviously losing a lot to the draft and you've lost a couple to the portal, I think, stuff like that. And then, really excited for the linebacker from Ole Miss, Jerron Willis. You look at his recruiting profile. Obviously, he was a freshman this past year, only played in one game, but, South Carolina offered him on the recruiting trail. So the Gamecocks wanted him. A lot of different schools wanted him. You go down his offer list. I mean, he basically had offers from everybody, 6'2", 235, and I think a guy that's going to play and start immediately. I think he'll be an immediate impact guy for you. So, we knew Shane Beamer would attack the transfer portal. I mean, he's not going to sit on his hands and watch it go by. And, I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't add more from the portal. So, excited to see who all they add. And again, I think those are specifically the linebacker. I think that's an immediate impact player.
That's one we needed more than anything.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've all seen the struggling run defense over the years, and I think one of the reasons is the deficiencies at linebacker. So the better players you can add there, I mean, the better off you're going to be, obviously. So
yeah, I mean, sorry, I apologize for the background noise.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, take that and then the seed. I think you posted the graphic the other day about how we flipped the tight end room with the transfer portal and everything, and people coming over. I mean, it's great to see.
Yeah, it's crazy how we've just flipped that entire room. So it's exciting, man. I'm really excited for it.
Oh yeah. What's your ceiling on next season as far as record goes?
Well, I mean, I think we got to see what Rattler and Juice do. I mean, I normally, for those that don't know, I mean, I normally drop way too early predictions for the season, right? Because it's that time of year. It's fun to drop the way too early stuff, but I just don't feel comfortable in doing so until I know what they're doing. Because I think to insinuate that doesn't affect the outlook of the season is just naive. I think it's foolish. You know what I mean? So, I think if those two guys come back, I think you're looking at potentially a 9 or 10 win season. I mean, really, truly. I mean, I'm gonna try to keep my expectations obviously realistic, but I think that could happen. If those guys do not come back, probably fighting to get to 6 or 7 wins. And you never know, right? There might be a quarterback waiting in the wings that could be the guy, but we just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like Doty, but I think you never know. He's been 100% healthy. He might come in if Rattler does leave. He might come in and ball out. You never know. It could be some of the younger guys. No telling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
But,
we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully that decision is coming sooner rather than later. Hopefully so.
yeah, they only have a week, don't they? Because they have to make a decision.
Yeah, by January 16th. Yeah, so they've got a week. Yeah, we'll see.
We will. But anyway, I appreciate it, Chris. Have a happy Monday and go Gamecocks.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the call. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great questions. And yeah, I would just say again, guys, it's the beauties and the banter when it comes to social media, and you know, you gotta be willing to. You got to be willing to take it all as it comes. Anyways, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Coach Ford, trust in Beamer. I know you're speaking sarcastically, my guy. Coach Ford, you said you thought it was a little much, right? I mean, I know, again, I know people have PTSD from the Will Muschamp era, and after year 2, we gave him a raise and all that. This definitely seems like a much more school-friendly contract, if you will, where there's not some crazy, ridiculous buyouts. If he leaves, right, in some crazy circumstance where he were to leave, he's going to owe the school money, right? So I think it's a much more friendly contract in that way. But, I mean, you have to pay your guy. You have to invest in your coach. You have to. You don't have a choice. I mean, Beamer was literally the lowest paid coach in the SEC. And all he did at the end of year 2 was back-to-back wins over top 10 teams, beat the rival. You have to invest in him. Again, there's a difference in, feeling like you're just paying and it's some empty cost, if you will, to making an investment for the long haul. That's how you have to view it, I think. And again, we all believe that Shane Beamer's the guy, Beamer ball to the moon. And, it's about what that money says versus just how much it is. But what does that money say? That money says that this is our guy and he's not going anywhere. We're not allowing him to go anywhere. You've got to lock him in for the long haul, and you've got to invest in your future. And I'm glad they did that. And, Shane Beamer, he earned that payday. He earned that paycheck. And I'm happy to see him get it. And, I'm glad that now we have that security and we've locked him in and paid him a salary that he deserves. I really believe that. Again, he deserved way more than the 2.75 or whatever he was getting. And again, you look at what SEC coaches are making, guys, he's still like middle of the pack. He's still middle of the pack. So, it's a bit of a keeping up with the Joneses, if you will, but you got to keep up. And you've got to show your head football coach and show your staff and everybody else that we are committed to winning. And that includes spending the money to get to where we want to go. So, Austin Gregory, God, asking me about the freaking the Twitter bracket. How did we not get out of the first round? Austin, long story short, I think there were just a lot of people that did not want us to win. Bottom line, there were a lot of people that did not want to see TSUS win, and when Gamecock Nation sets their mind on something, damn it, they make it happen. I will say that. That's probably the most complimentary thing I can say about Gamecock Nation as a whole. When we set our sights on something, and we make our minds up, it's, yeah. So, and hey, never doubt the power of Gamecock burners. Never doubt the power of Gamecock burners. So, let's see. Here we go. Odds to win the college football championship next season from BetOnline. It's crazy. The game hadn't even been played tonight, and there's already odds to win the national title for next season. Georgia, of course, is the favorite, 3-1. Bama 15-4. Ohio State 6-1. Michigan 12-1. Notre Dame 13-1. Clem sucks at 25-1, and the Gamecocks 100-1. You putting some money on South Carolina? Hey, if Spencer Rattler and Juice come back, never know. Never know. Let's jump to the line.
King.
What's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm feeling good, man. Real good.
I love it.
After I seen the predictions of what Spencer and Wells might go, I have a kind of good feeling about them coming back. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. So feel pretty good about that. And then of course with the Jeff Coat news, man, I really hope he comes home, man. That'll really be like upgrading at almost every position that we lost as far as important positions, you know what I'm saying? Positions of need. So
yeah, that'd be
that'll be
huge.
good,
That would be huge. Yeah, that'd be a great pickup. So
yes, sir. And then hey man, keep your head up, man. I see the Twitter people trying to go crazy. Now all I want to say is, how can you steal something with a watermark on it? You're doing nothing but promoting them, right? Right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
that was silly. And I'll say this: I've got no
Yeah, like-
problem. I got no problem with Gamecock swag. Apparently, his watermark, I learned, is the player in the corner with the X's on the face mask, which I didn't know that, and I still would say I don't know that he. And I would love to help him out, by the way, because I got no problem with Gamecock swag. I'd love to help him out because I'm not sure he really understands what a watermark is, because that's not a logo, or nobody on the planet would know that that's Gamecock swag's logo. Anyways,
I guess none of us could. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I'm like, dang. So I guess I can't I guess I can't post it either because it has a watermark. I guess he's the only one that can post it. So, but anyway, hey, man, keep your head up. Let's get it. I feel good about this season, man. I call in tomorrow or whenever Jeff Coat commits, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hopefully it is soon, no doubt.
All right, for sure, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for the call. And no, guys, I appreciate the love and support, man. And I'm doing well. Yeah, the Gamecock swag that was, and it's easy to differentiate who is trying to actually resolve a problem and who is clout chasing, and who is just begging for any sort of attention. Because like Gamecock swag, T-Man, he sometimes tunes in. Like, if you respected me as a person, as a human being, as a content creator, you could reach out to me directly. You could very easily DM me and say, hey, man, I know that the player that posted my graphic did not tag me, so you had no way of knowing that it was actually my graphic. But it is my graphic. So if you don't mind, can you credit me there? Can you tag me? I would really appreciate it. And I would very quickly, and I did this, I would very quickly be sure to credit and to tag and to give credit where credit's due. Because, I mean, guys, if you really think I'm at a point in business where like I need to rip off somebody's graphic or something, like I'm not. Like, trust me, my business is much bigger than taking a graphic. I mean, it really is. Like, so if you had any sort of respect for me at all, you do that instead of going on your own personal feed and somehow trying to body me and say that, oh, the Spurs Up Show stole my graphic, when the player that posted the commitment graphic did not even credit you. So the picture was taken off of his feed. Your beef is with him. Your beef is with him, not with me. So I got no problems with Gamecock swag, the homie T-Man Novinger. I know he tunes in. I got no problem with you, man, but let it maybe be a lesson to you that if you, again, you can tell who's actually trying to, you can tell who has respect for you and who doesn't. Because if you have respect for somebody, you don't try to resolve conflict by going on social media and like outing them and trying to body them. Right? That's why, like, for example, I'm not going to jump into a Twitter Spaces and try to shit on somebody and their business and the way they operate. If I got a problem with you and I know you personally, I'm going to text you. I'm going to try to resolve the issue that way. When you respect someone, that's how you operate. When you're a grown-ass man and you have a pair of nuts, that's how you operate. You don't operate going on subtweeting and all this bullshit like that. Like, that's some middle school bullshit, bro. Like, anyways, I know we don't want to talk about that, but anyways, feels good to be good. I would say that. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite quotes comes from Naval Ravikant, who I respect and really admire his work and love his commentary. He says that be so big that it's cool to hate you. And so TSUS has reached a point to a degree where, like, it's cool to hate us. It is. It's cool to hate us. So, And Travis, I mean, no, I mean, you're good. I mean, that's the thing, guys. It's like we talk Gamecocks. We're at a point though where football's in the rear view, and a little bit of a slower Monday, if you will. And like you look at like a Barstool, right? Like their content has basically turned into like they don't talk about sports. They talk about like themselves on a day in, day out basis, right? And like business, and I fired this guy, and so I don't think that's what we want TSUS to be. I can tell you this, I don't want it to be that way, right? I don't want it to be that way. Like I don't want dumb drama to be the focal point of this entity. I don't want that. It serves no one. It doesn't serve me. Believe it or not, guys, like I do value my peace. When it comes to priorities in my life, my peace, my mental peace is one of those things that I value more than anything. And so like, if you really want to know why I block people on Twitter, which it's a very small minority that I have blocked, it is because, I mean, number one, for these people to be as outraged as they are and to say some of the ridiculous, horrible shit that they say, like my content being in your life and your existence, you seeing it, you don't need to see it because it's obviously bringing you to such a dark place where you're spewing that. So I'm actually doing them a favor to a degree. And also, I don't need to have that in my existence. I don't need to get on Twitter or get on social media for that matter and read disparaging comments day after day after day. And again, I'm at a point where I don't have to. Like, I can block out as much of that noise as I want to because it's you never reach a point of like you've made it. We're always going to continue to build and grow, but like we can grow without that. We can trim the fat. We can cut out the nonsense. We can cut out the slapdickery, if you will. So again, it's a very small minority, but it's just part of it, man. You continue to grow and get big and you're making waves and you're popping off and people are, the insecure will expose themselves and they're going to show their asses and do everything they can to bring you down. And that's why, again, on social media, I don't entertain it. I'm not going to. Nobody follows me for that reason. That's why I don't come on the Daily Crow and say, well, let's just spend all day talking about this. Like, you guys asked, so that's why I'm addressing it, right? And I'm an open book and I'm honest and I'm transparent, but the main thing should always be the main thing. And that's the Gamecocks. We're here to talk Gamecocks. We're here to talk about sports. But, it is kind of fun, too, to talk about the inner workings of the community, if you will, of the community. So, yeah, stand on business. My guy Cody said it's cool to be blocked by you, I guess, now. Yeah, that to me is one of the most interesting things of people on social media that wear it as some badge of honor to be blocked by someone. Because it's not, bro. It's not a flex. It's not a flex to be blocked by somebody. Like, your existence on social media has to be to such a level that someone is like, not only do I not want to follow this person, I want to go out of my way to make sure I don't see it ever, 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 ever. I mean, anyways, I mean, it is what it is, bro. Teach their own. Listen, I didn't start doing this I didn't think in the beginning that everybody was going to like me. I would be more concerned if everyone liked me. I would. I'd be more concerned if everybody liked me. Because there's plenty of Gamecock entities out there that everybody likes. And guess what? They ain't doing it full time. They ain't doing it as a business. They ain't popping off. They ain't doing what we're doing. So riddle me that. If the key was to be relentlessly positive and sunshine pumping, I can name a couple of entities off the top of my head that would be doing what we're doing. But they're not. Only showing up when things are going well, you don't earn respect that way. You may not ruffle any feathers, but you also don't create any conversation. You don't create any constructive banter. People don't respect you. That's just the reality of it. If you don't put your face behind your words and your opinions, if you're too scared to put who you actually are, people aren't going to respect you. There ain't no anonymous Twitter or Instagram or anything that's ever going to pop off, making these sort of ways. I mean, you see, I mean, there's an anonymous Instagram out there that goes on there and, anybody want to be a business partner? Who in the world that's a business owner is going to invest money in somebody who can't even put their own face on social media? Are you kidding me? It's a joke. It's crazy. It's funny. The content world is funny, man. But I will say again to all of those who show love in sport, because again, the love in sport is overwhelming. I mean, it is. It is. It's 99.9%, but the 0.1% is loud. We all know that. And that's any walk of life, right? That's any walk of life. We see it all the time in politics. We see it in other sports, other teams. We see it in everything. We see it in everything, right? So it's just a lot of it. I mean, guys, a lot of it is about who can best weather the storm. Who can best weather the storm? So. Anyways, 843-790-3377. Guys, I'll go back to this. And it's a serious question. It's a question for the masses. With the struggles of men's basketball, I mean, I think most people, unfortunately, are just checked out. And maybe that's a little harsh. But in regards to, I'm going to be watching every game, and I'm not going to let myself get overly worked up about it, right? It's year zero. And unfortunately, when there's no expectations, when there's not as much of an emotional investment when there's no expectations. But so that moves me to the women's basketball side of things. And I just wonder, why do we think it is that women's basketball, even with South Carolina being number one in the country, and this is an honest, genuine question here, why do we feel like women's basketball, even with the love and support it gets, I still feel like it doesn't get probably the love, support, and admiration and attention that it deserves? Why is that? Is there a reasoning? Is it because of the style of play? I mean, it's a battle that not just South Carolina fights. It's a battle that the entire sport fights, right? I mean, Dawn Staley's spoken on it. Others have spoken on it. But, women's basketball as a whole, college pro, why is it is not shown as much attention as the men game? Why is that? And is there anything that we can do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? Because, again, I think we're all invested. We love Gamecocks and women's basketball, but you're not really going to see that or feel that until we get to the postseason. And that's just the reality. Let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. Just driving around with these stupid asses on the road. Yeah, no, I didn't know if my phone rang the first time, so that's why I called the second. I couldn't hear anything. But yeah, so with Brad Crawford, I don't know. You retweeted his tweet about Spencer and Juice, going in NFL and stuff. What does he mean by that?
Hold on. So about the day 3 stuff or whatever?
Yeah.
So what does he mean by that? So that would mean that they wouldn't be selected until day 3 of the NFL draft, which would mean, I believe, 4th round or later. Yeah. So that would be that's their grade, if you will, or where the college advisory committee believes they will be picked. Right. That's what they're coming back and telling them.
Okay, so they would be like a 4th or 5th round pick then.
Yeah, 4th through 7th round. So
so
they would probably make more money. They would probably make more money staying with NIL than they would going to the draft. Yeah, that's what that means.
Wow. Okay. I appreciate it, man. I didn't mean to call the second time, but I hadn't seen the speech, so I just didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, Hunter. I appreciate the call. Great stuff from Hunter, and again, just wait and see, and we'll see what happens. But yes, Brian, I know you did your part in regards to. I promise you, before I even go to the gym, I'm talking about right after this. I'm gonna update the slide. I'm gonna make the video, update the slide, and we'll be good. So I promise. I promise. Bruin Nation, here's an honest take. He says, outside the top 8 or 10 programs, it's awful to watch. Honestly, go watch Syracuse versus Georgia Tech women's game. I'd rather spend the day with Rebecca watching Days of Our Lives. I will say, to your point, Bruin Nation, I do think that's one of the things. Like, there's practically no parity in women's basketball. I mean, it's there are 8 to 10 good teams, and everybody else is pretty bad. I mean, I'm not saying there's never close games, but I mean, yeah. So, I mean, and that's, I mean, you know, again, back to the point, like, why do we not cover it more in depth? I mean, I just, guys, I mean, there's a lot of times. I mean, I remember I went to a game last year. South Carolina beat Vanderbilt by like 60, and like Aaliyah Boston was just bullying people. And I'm like, I mean, the analysis is very short, sweet, and to the point. We're just better than you. We're just way better than you. And Bruin Nation, I don't think it's disrespect. I think it's the truth. It's just a different product. It's a different product, you know, and we, you know, we are at the point now as sports fans, because of social media and because of other things, that, you know, we want to see 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and 500-foot home runs. We want to see dunks. We want to see three-pointers. We want to see, you know, long passes and crazy touchdowns and a lot of offense. Like, fundamentals of the game, no matter the sport, but fundamentals have just lost their luster. You know, like in baseball, like who wants to watch small ball? Nobody wants to watch bunting and stealing and stealing signs and, like, you know, those little things. Nobody wants to watch that. You know, moving a runner over, like, bro, people want to see people hit bombs. I mean, people want to see people hit bombs. So, yeah. Babes and Waves says, I love small ball. Well, I just love winning. So, I mean, I can appreciate it. You know, I mean, I love bombs too. I love small ball. I will say this, Bruin Nation, to your point, softball is a bit slept on. Softball is a fun game because it moves really, really fast, right? It moves really, really quickly. So it's a very fun game to watch. It's a very fun game to watch. I will say that. Very, very fun game to watch. Anyways, guys, what a day. The convo has truly been all over the place. It has truly been all over the place. So, Elizabeth Ballard, you mean you tell me everything you read on the internet isn't true? Yeah, Elizabeth, that's the scary thing, is that there are people that believe that everything you read on the internet's true. There really are. There really are. There are people that think everything you read on the internet's fact. They just take it blindly as fact. So, again, guys, Gamecocks are 100-1 to win the national title in 2023. What do you know? So, crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff. I was about to say, how many of y'all are excited for the national title tonight? Last college football game until, what, late August? We will definitely be tuned in on this side. We will definitely be tuned in. So, looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun. Certainly, again, I'll take it all in and enjoy it. And, yeah. So, DGD says, score prediction for the Natty tonight. I'll go Georgia 34, TCU 24. So, I'll take TCU to cover. I think Georgia's going to win. So, I think Georgia's definitely going to win. 34-24. Give me Georgia. That's just off the top of my head, just random. I haven't done any research at all. Just a totally blind prediction. Cody Branch says, TCU seems to want it more, but Georgia wins and TCU covers. Cody, what gives you the idea that TCU wants it more? Bruin Nation says TCU 44-41. That would be crazy. 44-41. What a game. What a game that'd be. Guys, we're going to jump into one final break. On the other side, I want to continue to hear from you, more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Final 10 minutes or so here in the Daily Crow, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. Guys, I want to remind you, tsus.store is where you can find all of our merchandise. We've still got a good number of towels here. So if you guys need your Beamer Ball towels, be sure to hit us up. tsus.store is where you can find that. And stay on the lookout for some new merchandise as well. I think tonight I'm going to start working on some new merch and putting some stuff together. Maybe some all we got is all we need merch. Stay tuned. So, guys, I also want to say thank y'all so much through everything. You guys continue to show love, show support, tune in the show, tune in the podcast, interact on social media. And again, that's where I want the focus to be, right? There's a lot of craziness and madness out in this world and people that say this, that say that. But, I always want to focus on those that show love and show support, because those are the people that matter. And that is the majority also as well. So I want to say thank y'all so much. I really do genuinely appreciate it. I mean, I don't just say it to say it. I am extremely grateful for each and every single one of you that has given me a chance and makes us part of your daily routine, and again, shows love and shows support and has our back. And again, I just, from the bottom of my heart, I'm truly grateful. So thank you all so much. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure and an honor to chat with each and every single one of you and talk on our Gamecocks and talk sports and everything in between. So thank you all so much. Really excited though for the national championship tonight. And I will ask you guys this on the notes of the national title, right? On the note of the national title, Georgia TCU. How long realistically? Let me ask you this. How long realistically before South Carolina has a roster that is talented enough, deep enough, complete enough to go toe-to-toe with, a Georgia and win the SEC East, win the SEC, and find themselves in the playoff and maybe even the national championship? How long do you guys think? I think it's at minimum 5 to 6 years of stacking good recruiting classes on good recruiting classes on great recruiting classes on great recruiting classes. Because you watch Georgia tonight and you'll see the difference. The competitive depth up front, just the sheer talent they have at every single position. But it's not about starting 20. It's 66. It's about that level of depth. You're 2 deep, you're 3 deep, you're 4 deep. I think it will take 5 to 6 years of great recruiting to get to that level. Realistically. Could it happen sooner? Maybe. But I mean, even look at Clem Sucks and how long it took them. I mean, it took 4, 5, 6 years of elite recruiting, top 10 level classes. And if South Carolina does get to that point, right, we'll look back in 5, 6, 7 years and we'll say it's because the recruiting changed. It's because recruiting went from good to above average to great. It's got to make that big of a jump. So I ask you all, how long before you think South Carolina is in a position to challenge the elites and realistically make a push for an SEC championship and in turn a national championship? Luke RJ says year 2025, no doubt. I don't see it, Luke. Luke, I think you're not giving enough credit to just how elite you have to be. And Cody Branch makes a good point. I don't think anyone can repeat the depth of elite level guys that Georgia and Bama have unless whoever does gets top 5 classes consistently. I mean, it really is truly about Jimmys and Joes, not X's and O's. I mean, as good as this class, this 2023 class is for South Carolina, it would be a horrific class for Georgia. Would it not? I mean, it's tough. It's an uphill climb. It's no doubt an uphill climb. No doubt it is. And that's okay. Shane Beamer knows that. He signed up for that. But it's an uphill climb, no doubt. 2025, Luke RJ, I love your passion and I respect your optimism, but that to me feels a little overzealous, my guy. It feels a little overzealous. Now, I will say this. 2025 could be a breakout year. You never know, because you look at some of these guys on the offensive line and defensive line. that you're bringing in, right? They'll be juniors at that point. So maybe that, sets up well for you. Luke RJ says, bro, look at TCU. They aren't recruiting like that. Luke RJ, TCU's in the Big 12. They don't play the schedule we do. So Hunter Kelly says, championship next year, mark my words. Hey, from your lips to God's ears, my friend. From your lips to God's ears. Cody says, you don't just duplicate what Georgia has currently. I think it's a once or twice in a program history kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the one to set any sort of limiting beliefs and or expectations on Shane Beamer and this South Carolina football program. However, what a Georgia is doing and what Bama did, right? And what Bama continues to be. I don't think saying that Bama's done. Until it happens, I'd bet against Bama at your own peril, right? But I guess that's my question when it comes to South Carolina and it comes to, we all want to win an SEC championship, but realistically, I think it's going to take Georgia having a down year for it to happen. I just do because, guys, I don't see Georgia going anywhere. I can't even fathom at this point Georgia not being good at football. I just can't fathom it. I'm not saying it'll never happen, but as much as I hate Georgia, you just got to tip your cap to them, man. I mean, they have everything you could ask for. I mean, when it comes to a college campus and a college football program, and if you were to start from scratch and envision what you want a college football program to be, again, from everything down to, the campus and the overall vibe and appeal, Athens is it, man. Athens is it. That's just the reality. That's not even those that hate the University of Georgia, I think you're dude, Athens is a fantastic college town. It's an incredible college town. And Luke RJ, if TCU beats Georgia tonight, recruiting top 5 year after year may not matter. I mean, Luke RJ, that's an if in the most capital letters you can find, my guy, because I think Georgia's going to win. Georgia's going to win. You're going to see the difference tonight in SEC size, SEC speed. I think so. Brandon Wagner says, take me back to the Mark Richt era. That's the interesting thing, right? It's when they were under Richt, they were still really good, but they're a different level now. Georgia's a different level. They're a machine. I mean, I will say this. If you get back Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells, that game in Athens could be interesting. It could be interesting, right? Georgia breaking in a new quarterback. They're still going to be elite, but that's normally what leads to the downfall of programs, right? Is missing at that position. Look at Clem Sucks. Right? They missed on DJU, and all of a sudden, the rest of it falls apart. When you have that guy under center, that can fix a lot of other woes. And so that's why I've said, obviously if Spencer Rattler comes back, that's great, and we're going to have hella high expectations as we should. If he doesn't, my mindset then shifts to, okay, year 1 of Dowell Loggins, 2023 is about finding the guy. It's about finding the guy under center. Because we can talk about everything else, and there are many different facets of your football team that are very important. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't have the quarterback, you just don't have a chance. You're going to get exposed. You may be able to get away with it for a game or two, but you're going to get exposed. You're not going to be elite. That's for damn sure. I mean, you might somehow finesse your way to 7 or 8 wins, but your ceiling comes way down. And you're never going to take that next step as a program till you find that guy. I mean, I hate Clem Sucks, but Clem Sucks elevated because they found their Deshaun Watson. They found the guy. They got Trevor Lawrence. They had the guy, the dude, right? They had the dude. Why did South Carolina fall off? Well, Connor Shaw, and then it wasn't Dylan Thompson's fault, right? The defense was terrible. But then after that, all the misses at quarterback, I think that led to a lot of the frustrations we saw. over those years after Spurrier left. I think misses at quarterback killed South Carolina, not having the guy. So even if Rattler doesn't come back, still a lot to be gained in 2023. Finding that guy, that dude. And you got plenty of options, plenty of talented options, but somebody's got to step up and establish themselves as sort of the franchise player, if you will, the leader of your program. So that being said, guys, we've hit 2:00. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much, guys. Of course, go check out the podcast that dropped this morning, episode 749. And again, guys, I'd say this. Appreciate the love. Thank you all so much. I'm grateful for each and every single one of y'all that tunes in. Truly, the people that are tuned in to here, that rock with us, that show love, y'all are the people that matter. And I want y'all to know that. Never forget that. So again, guys, thank y'all so much. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Monday. And we will talk to you all tomorrow.